Hi, I'm Kometa, and today on Dishin with Di, I'm making mint chocolate chip meringue cookies. What a classic combination, chocolate and mint. These cookies are light and crisp, and that fresh mint taste combined with that chocolate is just out of this world. I cannot wait to eat these, so let's get started today on Dishin with Di. You need some egg whites at room temperature, some salt, some superfine or caster sugar, some peppermint extract, some green food coloring, and some mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. The food coloring, that's optional, so if you don't want to use that, don't worry about that. The superfine or caster sugar, if you don't have that, as long as you have white granulated sugar, I'll leave a little link for you and you can learn how to make that at home. It's very simple. You just need white granulated sugar. Now you also need your oven preheating to 225 degrees, and you need a baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper. I also have a piping bag here that I put a little tip on. If you don't have a piping bag, you can just use a regular plastic bag and cut the corner off, or you can use 2 spoons to put them out onto the sheet when we're ready to get started. So before we get started, you are going to need either a hand mixer or a stand mixer for this. Preferably. You could do it by hand, but you're going to get a really good arm workout. And if you're my age, then that's not such a bad thing to exercise. And if you're younger than me, then you should be exercising anyway, so this will be good for you. Anyway, the egg whites. Make sure that they are at room temperature and make sure that they're in a clean bowl, like no residue in there from anything. Also, make sure that you do not use a plastic bowl. It could have some grease in there from something else, even if it's clean, or it could even have some residue from detergents from the dishwasher or from when you washed it. So that could affect the outcome of what we're going to do today. So you don't want to do that. So start with either, glass, metal, porcelain, something like that, ceramic, not plastic. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is take the eggs and put these into the mixer. And you want to just start with your mixer on low until this gets a little bit foamy. Okay, now that's foamed up a little bit. Now you're going to add in your salt. You're going to beat this on medium until it forms soft peaks, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, that's what you're looking for. That's soft peaks right now. And now we're going to start adding in the superfine or caster sugar. And you just want to do this gradually. You're going to add just a couple tablespoons at a time. Now, once you've added about half of your sugar, you want to give it a scrape down. Some of the sugar starts to accumulate on the sides when it's mixing, and you just want to make sure that gets in there, because at the end, you don't want that falling into the meringue because it'll make it kind of gritty. So just turn it back on. Now, I usually add it in, and I just kind of go at like a steady pace. So by the time I get it in there, it starts whipping around, and then by the time I come down and get another one, I just kind of go slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race with the meringue. Anyway, now I have a little bit left. I'm just going to dump that in. Okay, now I have all of my sugar in there. I'm going to scrape it down one more time. Now I'm going to let this go. I'm going to move it up to medium high now until I get the firm peaks. Okay, that is what you're looking for. Now I'm just going to test this, and what you want to do is just get a little bit on your finger and like run it around your finger. Now I still feel a little bit of the grit from the sugar, so even though it looks good and it's holding firm peaks, I'm just going to let this go a little bit longer because I want that sugar to dissolve in there. I don't want to end up having that in my little cookies. So I'm just going to turn this back on for about another 30 seconds or a minute, and I'm just going to let that go. So what you're again looking for, it's going to be glossy, firm peaks, and no grit. Okay, that should be good, and a little test, and it's nice and smooth. So Before we go to the next step, I just want to tell you real quick, the spatula that I used in between to scrape, I went and rinsed that off because I'm going to be using that again, and I don't want all those little pieces of gritty sugar that were on there getting back into this. So I want to start nice and clean. And the other thing that I want to mention is if you have a problem and you notice that they're not like, fluffing up and it's not getting firm peaks, it could be your eggs. What happened with your eggs, either they were cold and it's taken a lot longer than it should, or I made these the other day and I had some egg whites left from when I made my creme brulee recipe, and I tried to use that, like they sat overnight in the fridge and it wouldn't beat up. So you might have to just start over if you have a real serious problem. Just letting you know, because I know I'll get questions on that. So anyway, now we're ready to add in our peppermint extract. With the mixer on low, pour this in. Okay, and once it gets in there, let's give that a quick mix through. And now I'm gonna add in my food coloring. And I put this in with the mixer off because I don't want it to splash up at me. Okay, that is good. Now I'm going to just take this off and I'm going to stir in my chips. Just take them and you just want to fold them in. You don't want to stir it too heavily. I don't want to deflate that meringue too much. But look at that. You can smell that mint and the chocolate, and anything with mint and chocolate, I am like on it. And I know I have some of my friends out there. I know you like this too. So into your bag, or you can spoon this, but I'm going to put it in this bag because I just like the way it turns out. And you could, put the bag into a glass if you want to, but I'm going to show you. This is easy. You just pour it in here like this, and don't put too much in because of the chips. Now, just go like this and kind of let it come down on its own, all right? And then twist it. Don't squeeze it down too hard, because what's gonna happen, and I know because this happened to me, you squeeze it down too hard and try to pack that meringue in there. First of all, the meringue deflates, and secondly, all those chips go right to the end, and then you get a big clog and nothing comes out. So let it sit in there nice like that, and then we're gonna put this onto our parchment paper lined baking sheet. All right, now there's a bunch of different ways you can do this, but what I do is just go down like that, and then I just pull it up and make these little like kisses, they call them, okay? So you could also, just do a little swirl. You don't want to make them too big though, because it'll take longer for them to dry out. Now, the other way that you can do this is with the 2 spoons. So you just want to grab some and get it on your spoon, maybe a little bit more than that. And then just push it off with the other spoon. If you just try to smack it down there, it's not going to work so well. And you can kind of just make like a little, swirl with it if you want to. So I'm just going to continue here and fill this up, and I'll show you what these look like when they're done. Okay, there you go. And I just want to show you something. I almost forgot to do this. Take a little dab of the meringue and stick it at the corners, because what happens is when you go to pick this up, if that parchment paper is not secured, this whole thing is just going to slide off. So I just wanted to make sure you know that you have to have something holding that down. Now, I have this everywhere. Is it like all over my face? I know it was on my clothes. Anyway, I'm going to put this into my preheated oven, 225 degrees, and I'm going to leave it in there. I'm actually going to leave it in there overnight, but I'm going to leave the oven on for 45 minutes. And in 45 minutes, I'm going to turn the oven off, and then that's it. Do not open the oven. Now, they may be done in like 2 to 4 hours, but don't open the oven in like an hour to check them, because you're going to let all of that heat out. So I wouldn't check them for at least 2 to 3 hours. And really, they turn out better when they're sitting in there overnight. So I'm going to pop these into the oven real quick, and I have some already made, so I want to show you what they look like. Okay, so here's what I made, and these are from 2 different batches, so I just wanted to let you see, the different things that can happen. Now I made these, and these were a lot bigger than these little guys right here, and they started to crack a little bit. but they still taste great. But I'm just showing you the difference. When you make them a little bigger, what can happen. So the other thing is that when you store them, I put them in these little plastic containers, and in between them, I put little pieces of parchment paper, or you could put wax paper, but I just kind of layer them in there like that, okay? Now, I gotta taste one, and I gotta show you. Look, is that good? I mean, here's even the big ones are the same way. I could sample them all for you if you want. I mean, I love chocolate and mint. Okay. It's nice and dry in there. And you're gonna absolutely love these. I'm taking these to a little pizza party that I'm having today, and it's gonna be absolutely great. Just nice little snacks to have afterwards. The recipe is on my website, dishinwithdi.com, along with all of my other stuff. So I hope you enjoy everything, and I hope I made your life a little easier